Afternoon. I've just literally clicked record,
Afternoon.
so I was about to start on my own, but that's fine. Now you're here, we can start together, so that's even better. Whew, I didn't. I only ran half a class this morning because my internet was going on, off, on, off, on, off, and it was driving me mad. And I'm like, I can't really teach when every 5 seconds my internet's dropping out. So Sky have done me a disservice today. Um, so yeah, we're going to go back onto. We're still doing non-calcs this week, so we're going to go onto this paper here that I said I was going to do this morning, and we're going to do it properly. So if we click yes, and if at any time you want to shout out and say, what are you doing, then please do. So let's start test. We're going to say we're just going to do non-calcs this whole week, and then next week we'll have a look at some of the calcs of the non-calcs we've done today, and then that should leave us with some more to do the week after, and then get us right up into at the end of Jan to be ready to go. It is estimated that 4,500,000 front gardens in the UK are paved. Write it in words. So it's one marker. I don't need to write anything on my notepad. I'm going to write straight into the answer box. 4,500,000. That's the hard bit done, the spelling, and that's it. 4,500,000. Next question, 1 point, done, in the bag. An insurance company asks people why they pave their areas of the garden. Half people said was to create a patio on the front garden. I'm not going to do that. 1/3 said the main reason was to create a parking space, and the rest gave other reasons. What fraction are others? So this is where we're looking at adding fractions. We've got half. Oh, what? I want dark. Half. Add a third. Add something equals 1. So we've got half and a third. We can see that actually they aren't totting up very well. So if we change them both to the best way to do it is multiply those both together. So we're going to change them both to sixths. And whatever we times this one by, we're going to times this one by. That becomes 3. And then what are we times this one by? We times this one by, which was 2. And so we can now see that we've got 3/6, add 2/6, which equals 5/6. And then we need to make it up to 1. That means there's only 1/6 left. In my workings out box, I am literally going to say 3/6 add 2/6 equals 5/6. And in my bottom box, I'm going to put 1/6. And that's my answer. 2 marks. So I've shown them that I've changed my fractions up into sixths, and then I've just said what was left. So no other workings out needed in there. All the lines and stuff are not needed. A difficult question. I had a dip into this one with a couple of people that came to my level 1 class yesterday to show kind of the step up that's required from level 1 to level 2. And one thing that you might find at level 2 is that you might have a couple of sneaky pie questions sneaking into your non-calc, which this one has. So Emma wants to pave some of her front garden. The front garden is a rectangular as shown. That's the bit not to be paved, and that's the bit to be paved. She needs planning permission if the area that is paved is going to be greater than 5 square meters. So remember, greater is the number that the crocodile eats. So greater is going to be the garden, and 5 is our minimum it's allowed to be. Does she need planning permission? So the end answer in this box is going to be a yes or a no. And then the rest of what we're going to do is going to be in the working out box, and it's worth 4 marks. So we're looking at about 3 different things we're going to have to do. So let's have a look. First of all, we need to know the area of the big part of the garden. That's not a great drawing, but we can see that it's 3.5. that's a half circle, and we can see that from the middle of the circle to the edge, it's 2. So from the middle to the edge that way, that's also 2. So we can see here that the main bit of our garden is 4 times 3.5. Rather than do like a full multiplication, I would say I'm going to double it, so times it by 2. So I know if I double it, it's going to be 7. So times by 3.5, add 3.5 is 7. And then I'm just going to do it again, add another 7. So I've got my answer. So I know that my whole garden has a square meterage of 14 meters squared. That will be the first thing I write in my box. 3.5 times by 4 equals 14. And I'll probably just put M2 like that. Just, you can't do a little 2, it's rubbish. So I know my garden is 14 meters squared. Now I need to know the circle part. We have a pizza crust, which is circumference. It's not that. And then we have topping, which is the area. We have that. Okay, so the pizza crust is pi times diameter, and then the pizza toppings, or in this case the garden, is pi times radius squared. And also to take into consideration, we're going to half our number because we've got a semicircle, half of a circle. And it says in a semicircle. So whatever we get, we need to divide by 2 because it's a semicircle. Right, so if we go pi, let me just scroll it down a wee bit, pi times by 2 squared. 2 squared, 2 squared, my brain's gone now. 2 squared is 4. And then we'll have to divide it by 2. Again, do I need to do the whole multiplication? It's just as quick to go 3.14 or 3.14 is 6.28, 6.28 and 6.28. It's easy to do that, but let's do it normal. So we're going to go 4 times 4 is 16. 1 times 4 is 4. Add our spare 5. 3 times 4 is 12. 12.56 is this part. We then need to break it into 2, so we divide that by 2. 12.56 divided by 2. 2's into 12 is 6. 2's into 5 is 2. 2's into 16 is 8. So we've got 6.28. So on here, my workings out, my second part, I'll probably say 3.14 times by 4 equals 12.56 divided by 2 equals 6.28. And then for my third mark, I'm going to say 14, that's my whole garden, minus 6.28, not 628, 6.28 equals 7.72. And I've not worked that out because if you think about 6.28 to get that up to 7, I need 72 centimeters, and then to get from 7 to 14, I need 7 meters. So I've just kind of lumped those two numbers together. If you wanted to do the workings out, as in like do it properly, then absolutely you could have done that properly. So 0 take away 8 we can't do, so we borrow 1, we can't get one off there, so we borrow another one, and so it becomes 13. Oh, my brain's gone funny there. 3 there, and then we got a 1 there. We can't do that, so it becomes 9. We can't do that, so 9. And if you think about that, we'll have sorry, that's a 9. That's a 1 because we have to cross it out, and that becomes a 10. So 10 take away 2. Then we've got my brain's not thinking straight. Come on, 10 take away 2. 9 take away 2 is 7, and then 13 take away 6 is 7. So we've got the same answer, but sometimes clumping it or chunking it for me works better. And so our final answer would be does she need planning permission? Yes, needs planning, because it's over. It's over 7 point. It's over 5. It said if it's over 5, we need planning permission. I won't write any more than that in. I mean, if you want to be smart, you could put 5 and then 7.72, but you don't need to because it's saying show how you decide. I've shown that because I've taken away my garden, my flower bed from my garden, and it's bigger. So yes, she needs planning permission. Um, Nothing else needed in that one. Although I've done a lot more on my pad, but yeah, sometimes you tend to write more and have to put less in. Emma wants to buy some eco tiles. These are made from recyclable plastic and filled with gravel. Emma finds 2 suppliers of eco tiles, supplier A and supplier B. How many more times expensive is supplier A than supplier B? Give your answer as a mixed number. I think when we look at this question, I've looked at it several times and thought about it and thought this is like a pointless question. And when I say pointless, I mean it's 4 points there. But I've looked at every exam since this question and I've never ever put a question in like this again. So my deduction from that is that most people found it too difficult at level 2 because it does not, I don't think there's enough information. It doesn't ask you, like, it doesn't say per square meter, it doesn't say per tile, so it doesn't really give you a lot. It just asks you to compare that price and that price, not per tile, not per square meter. So that's where it becomes tricky. So supplier A, so we'll put S, we'll put sup A. If we look at supplier A, each tile is 30 by 30. So we can put 0.3 times by 0.3. And that would make it 0.3 times 0.3 becomes 0.09. So we've got 0.09 for our size of tile. Okay, 0.09 meters. If we divide that 1.8 divided by 0.09, we're going to find out there, again, it's not price per meter of anything. We're just going to get to the number that we need, the matching number. So 1.8 divided by 0.09. If I just say, if I got rid of the decimal places and said 118, sorry, divided by 0.9, I can now do that. I know that's 20 because 18 divided by 9 is 2. And if I've got 10 times more than that, I know it's 20. So our supplier A, we're saying as a fraction or as a value, we're saying A is 20. 20 what? Don't know. 20 pounds, 20 meters, 20 trees, 20, doesn't matter. It's 20. And that's where this question is, I would say, a really hard to grasp question. You're not being asked to say if it's per meter or per tile or per hour worked. You've just got a number now that's 20. And we have to do the same with this one. Look, we know we've got sup B. This one's a little bit easier, I would say. We've got 16 square meters and we've got 192 pounds. So if we divide 16 into 192, we're going to get our other number. Which is why I don't think it's a really good question. So, sorry, so the flock of geese come flying over there. Wow, that was quite noisy. 16 into 19 is once, with 3 left over. 16 into 32 is twice. So right, now we've got our 2 numbers. So supplier A and supplier B. It's great, but it wants it as a mixed number. That's an improper fraction. So if we wanted to do it as a mixed number as it is there, we go, how many times does 12 go into 20? Once. And then we've got 8 12ths left over. That's still not as simple as what they want it. They want it as a simplified number. I know it doesn't say simplified, so you might get away with 1 and 8 12ths bigger, but let's go and do it properly. So we're going to divide that by, we can see there's a common number here that they both divide by. I'd say it's 4. You could do 2, which would be 4 and 6, and then 2 again, which would be 2 and 3. So we're going to divide both by 2, and we're going to make that into a 4 and that into a, oh gosh, I've done that wrong way around. We're going to divide both by 4, and that becomes, oh, Steve. Divide both by 4. That becomes a 2, and that becomes a 3. So our final answer is 1 and 2. Oh my gosh, I'm saying 1 2/3. I've written 1 1/2. So I'm not, my brain is not connecting to my hand. So, and that's your answer. And again, it's what does that mean? Well, it means that that price is 1 2/3 times more than that price. But again, it doesn't make what I would say life sense, because we're not talking per square meter, we're not talking per tile. We've literally just converted these two into a number, that one being 20, that one being 12. So for my workings out, I'd do 0.3 times 0.3 equals 0.09. Then I'd go, after that, I'd go 1.8 divided by 0.09 equals 20. Underneath, I'd go 192 divided by 16 equals 12. Then underneath there, I'd say my fraction is 20 over 12. And then I'd convert that into what we did, 1 and 1/8/12. And then 1 and 1 2/3. There's not a lot else we can do there, because there's no kind of slopey ones you can put in. And again, I'll put it in there like that. So yeah, when I say difficult question, the actual math involved when we've done it here, 0.3 times 0.3, and then divided it by into 1.8, isn't that difficult. However, it's actually the interpretation of what it's asking you that I find difficult for that question. And again, they've never put a question in that's like that since. So I believe that they've put a question in that's they're thinking is good for math, but then when you think about it in life, it doesn't relate. So yeah, let's move on from that question. Right, Emma works. So we've got back to a 1-pointer. So they've given you a 4 marker that kind of really frazzled our brains. And then we've gone to Emma's work out an estimation. So we've got 0.09 multiplied by 0.005. If we're looking at this one here, I think you've probably got used to how I'm doing things sometimes. I could do this one of 2 ways. I'll show you the first way. So I like getting rid of decimal places. So I'm going to get rid of that one. So I know that's 1, 2. So I need to get rid of that 2. And I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. So I know when I put my number back in here, I need to put back in all those decimals, which is 5. So 5 decimal places out, and then it becomes 9 times 5 equals 45. And now is the time where I'll put my decimal places back in. So if I put 45 here, the decimal places here, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my answer now becomes back in with my 5 decimal places 0.0045, and that's my answer here. What would I put in my workings out? It's difficult to say. It's 1 mark, so I would probably just write in
the answer without
exactly what it says there. 0.09 times by 0.005 equals 0.00045. That's it, and then I put my answer in there, so they know I've. Because there's not a lot else you can write because it's a 1-pointer. If you'd rather look at it on a different aspect and think, Steve, why did you take those 5 out? And some people see it better this way. I'm just going to collect my noughts. I've got a nought, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I've now got 11, and now I'm left with 9 times 5. It's the same answer. We just look at it from either taking the zeros out and then putting them back in, as in like the decimal places, or we collect the zeros after the decimal place together, put them in together, and then just do 9 times 5. So two slightly different ways to do multiplying with a decimal. If it was, I don't know, what could we put in here? If it was 0.016 times by 0.003, or no, let's put another zero in there just to be tricky with ourselves. 0.004. Absolutely same method again. You could do both. You could either go 1, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So you take out 7 decimal places. You put them 7 back in when you're finished, or you could write your zeros. So now I've got a 0.1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I just do 4 times 16, which is 64. So it matters not which way around you look at it. It's just a case of making sure if you do take the decimal places out, you put them back in. And then if you're working with the decimals as you go, you're putting enough back in. Right. And that will be question 5. Question 6. Let's have a look. Which one's it throwing us at the end? Okay. Emma wants to build a low wall around the curved edge of a semicircular flower bed. So straight away, my brain's working back to the question I looked at the first time round. When I did the first one, I looked at all the topping on the pizza, and now I'm thinking circular crust. My crust of my pizza is around the outside, so I'm thinking pi times diameter for my crust of my pizza. I don't know what she's worried about the bricks and stuff yet. I'm not thinking about that. I'm just going to go straight in with my pi times by my diameter, which I did before. I did that up because I did pi times radius squared, if you remember, and 2 times 2 is actually 4. So we did it again. So, but then we've got to divide it by 2 because we've only got half a circle. So my answer, I mean, sometimes in an exam, you're not thinking, oh yeah, I see that before. So my answer is going to be exactly the same. Look, 3.14 times by 4, 12.56. 12.6 divided by 2, 6.28. So it's exactly the same. But if you weren't thinking straight, thinking, oh my God, I've got to do this again. 4 times 4, 16. 1 times 4 with a 5. 3 times 4 is a 12. 12, 5, 6 divided by 2. 2's into 12 is 6, 2's into 5 is 2, and then 2's into our 16 is 8. So we know that the distance from here right round to there is 6. Oh my gosh, and this is 16 then. And then he wrote 16. Oh man, that is 6.28. Right. She needs 24 bricks per meter of wall. Interesting. Are we thinking? Okay, so the first bit's really easy, isn't it? We know that per meter she needs 24 bricks. So 6 times 24 is the easy bit. So we'll go 24 and 6. 6 times 4 is 24, and then 2 times 6 is 12. Add our spares. Is 3 is 13. No, 14. Gosh, my brain is not working today. 2 times 6 is 12. My head, I thought my head was getting warmer. I need to put my hat back on before I listen. That's right, 144. So we know for the 6 meters, it's 144. But then what we need to think of doing now is, hang on a minute, we've got another 28 centimeters. It's not one brick. It doesn't say each brick is 24 centimeters. So this is where it gets a little bit tricky. If we've got, and my brain then thinks, right, if I need 24 bricks per 100, how many bricks, how long is each brick? Okay, so we're going to go 24s into 100. Oh my gosh, it doesn't work. So we're going to go 24, a 24, a 24, a 24. That's 80, 96. So we've got 24 goes into 100 4 times, and it's got 4 remaining. 24s into 4 don't go. 20 falls into 40, go once with 16 left over. But do we need to worry about that part? No, because we know it's going to be, if we say 4.1, each brick is 4.1. We've now got to look at this part because we've got 28 centimeters. How many bricks fit into 28? So 28 divided by 4 equals 7. So add our 7. And then we've got a bit left at the end. A bit left at the end. So I'm saying, if the answer doesn't say it, then I'm complaining. We need another brick because that bit there only takes us to that part there. Oh, no, we don't. I'm looking at it the way around, aren't I? That'll give us more than enough. That's right, isn't it? So each brick is 4.1. That's correct, isn't it? And we need 28 centimeters. So yeah, there's going to be a little bit left over. So we don't actually need all of that last brick. We can trim it. So my working's out for 4 marks, 3 marks. I'm doing the same, 3.14 times by 4 equals 12.56 divided by 2 equals 6.28. 6.28 divided by what did we say? 4.1 equals 151. And that's my answer. 151 bricks. 151. And I think that is your lot. So I'm saying 151. I'm going to remember that. I'll put 151 here because we'll look at the answers now. It's going to run out of time before we get back to it. So if we look at the answers, 1604 mark scheme. Let's have a look. Full page, which makes it smaller. And I've said to my people this morning, this has been appearing on my screen now for days, and I don't know what it is, and I don't click it in case it's something that kind of is a little bug and kind of like a virus. I don't know what it is. So yeah, I don't know, and don't click it. I don't know where it came from either. Okay, so let's go to the top. But it's always there. What are you? 4.5 million. I won't accept that. 4,500,000. Or 4.5 million. Yeah, that's probably. But I won't. I don't think I'd accept 4.5 million. I think obviously they're accepting all 3, but I definitely like the next 2. 1.6 we said, yeah, because we added them up and got to 5.6. They've shown it there how we've done it. The garden is, yes, we do need planning permission because it's 7.72 meters that we needed. We said 7.72, correct. Have they done? Yeah, they've done the similar workings out. They've done the 4 times 3.5 for the main garden. Then they've done the pie part here, and then they've just taken it away. So they've just put it all in one big long sum, which, yeah, we've broke it down so it's easy to kind of digest. For the question 4, which is the one that's really difficult to grasp what they're asking for, they've done likewise. They've done 192 divided by 16 equals 12. Correct, we've done that. And then they've done 1.8 divided by 0.3 times 0.3. So we did the 0.3 times 0.3 first, which is 0.09. Then we divided it into 1.8, which was 20. That's where they've got their 2 values from. 20 over 12, and then we've got 20 over 12 can be 1. RC accept if 1 over 8 twelfths is seen. So they would have accepted you here. They wouldn't have accepted here because that's not a mixed number. They would have accepted at first port of call here, 8 twelfths, which is brilliant. But yeah, for me, that question is just.
How did they get the 1, 2 over 3, Steve?
1 and 2/3?
Yeah.
From here, look, from 1 and 8 twelfths, you mean, or from 20 over 12?
So if you do 12 into 20 is 1, where is the 2 coming from?
Right, so 20 into 20, 12 into 20 goes once with 8 12ths left over.
Yeah.
We'd have 8 pieces left over, then our 8 12ths shrinks down to 2/3. We can divide both numbers by 4, so the 8 becomes a 2 and the 12 becomes a 3, so it becomes 2/3.
But you can't do that because it's a mixed number. I don't know.
No, because it's asking you to put it back into a mixed number. That's what's called an when a number's top heavy, it says that's an improper fraction. A mixed number is where you have a whole one, so you've got a whole pizza, and then you've got some left over of your empty box that's in your other pizza. So we've got one whole pizza and 2/3 left of our other one, and that's where it's, for me, the calculation there is the question's not clear enough. Because like it shows here, it's working it out per square meter. But on the information that's been given, let me go back to the question. Am I running out? I've run out of time. Bummer. And it's set me straight off into the other one. Okay, with the information that's given, it doesn't make it clear that that's what it's asking for. It just says compare, or calculate how much more it is for that one. So I don't think it's that clear. And I'm glad they've not really put another question in like that since, because I do believe that's why they've not, because a lot of people would have just thought, "What's this question talking about?" The next one we got here was E 0.00045, 0.00045 with 2 methods of having a quick look at that one. And then the last one was working out the number of pieces, bricks we got to go around. We said 151. How did they get their answer? They said 2 times 3.14. Yes, we did that. And so we got 6.28. Yes, we did. And then we got, where did they, from their 6.28, how did they get there? It doesn't, and that's the thing, sometimes it doesn't show it doesn't show where they got their next stage from. So the bit that we then did, 6 divided by 24, because that's 24 bricks per meter, was give us 144. And then we worked out how many bricks, how long each brick was. So yeah, for me, they've not copped out, but they've just gone straight into saying, "Oh yeah, look, it's just 150.72, and that's 151 bricks." So yeah, they've been a little bit, for me, they've been a little bit loose on that one. They've not kind of been clear on how they've worked that out. Okay, let me stop sharing it now. And stop the recording. Okay. Stop recording and transmission.